Hey, Dorian. I'm gonna wait till a few more people come on. Let's see who else is on here. Lynn, you back? Yvette, you on here? Shelly Shell. All right, y'all. I just finished coming out of church. I went to a new church today that I went to visit, which is in Snellville, Georgia. Snellville is about 5 miles from where I live, and it's been, whew, I want to say it's been over a year and a half, more than a little bit over a year and a half since I last went to church. And so today I decided to visit this church called 12 Stone. Now, I've always seen this church driving by when I'm going to Lawrenceville or I'm in Snellville. And so I decided to go and visit it. I went to church today. They have, an 8 o'clock service, 11 o'clock, and a 1 o'clock service. They got 3 services on Sunday. And so I went to the later service at 1 o'clock. So let me tell you, I really enjoyed the church. It's very laid back. When I mean laid back, I'm talking about it's like very not, I don't want to say worldly. I don't want to say that. It's like well, let me back up some. Well, about when I got there. When I got there, people are very friendly, and I looked around and I saw black, white, or anything. It's like a very diverse church in terms of the congregation that was there. And it's also a non-denominational church. And I didn't really know they've been around for 30 years. They'll be celebrating their 30-year anniversary February the 11th. So when I got there, I'm like, it's not no huge big mega church like they have in Atlanta and some other cities. It's not a the pastor of the church, he's white. Now, I'll talk about the lessons that was taught today. It was a series, so I came into the 3rd week of the series that was talking about sacred of time, and it really came in handy with the mess what I've learned. I took some notes, but I'll probably make another video about that because I'm driving. I'm trying to concentrate. So I really like it. It's like a very youthful church, but yet they have people of all ages. It's not like you see a whole bunch of younger millennials, but I've seen people of different cultures, race, not cultures, but races, very mixed community. The pastor of the church, they had the sermon from the senior pastor. It was actually done on it was on video when they did the lessons. So it wasn't like the pastor was right there in front of the church. And then of course they had the campus worship leader. So when I first got there, they had they was playing they had the musical, but it wasn't like what I was used to going to. I grew up as a Baptist, And Baptist tends to be more hymnals. United Methodist Church, I've gone to um, Victory of the World Church, was used to be part of more of a Baptist tradition. So it wasn't the traditional choirs that you see, so it wasn't like the typical black church that I've used to gone to, accustomed to. And it's very, I tell you that, it's very laid back. It's not that long, drawn out, you know, people hollering, screaming, and jumping around. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with catching the Holy, being the Holy Spirit. So it's not one of those type, it is far from it, I can tell you. Church service at 1, we would finish, I would say, 2:15. So it's not like it's you in there all day. And even if I went to the other service, I'm quite sure they have it very structured, I can tell you. But one thing I noticed is that they will have like a musical. They had like a one white girl was on the keyboard, and what was it? And one person may have been like on the drums. It's kind of like a let me see, how could I say it? It's like they was like a small white kind of band. It's not gonna be traditional soulful kind of gospel, and it wasn't like the traditional gospel music and selections. I can't even describe what I would say, what it reminds me of, or what it's in a line of, in a sense of the church. So yeah, it's very diverse, I can tell you that for sure. Very diverse. People of different races, age groups, and that was the 1 o'clock service. So you can imagine, if we went to the 11 o'clock service, most people tend to go to church at 11, but I'm quite sure their structure will be about the same. Another thing that I noticed that was quite different compared to other churches I've gone to is that they tend to be more technology enhanced. And I say that is because the pastor did his sermons on this online, not online, but they was like on a video. And then they had like a family feud. Like they had had a skit, like a family feud skit. And it wasn't anything like relate biblical questions. It was like, little fun, little kind of fun things, real relaxed. And they had like did a little skit, like the '80s sitcom about family time and sacred time. But it really kind of tied into what the sermon message was. So it was very, very interesting. I would say very interesting. I really did enjoy it. Now, their focus is on small groups. So I've been to a church in Marietta. It was a pretty big young congregation church I went to, and they have small groups. So a lot of these churches, even when I went to Ray of Hope, they were focusing on small groups where people would either meet at their homes or at the church during the week. And a lot of churches are resorting to a small group environment where you get to connect. Because these days, a lot of these churches are, big, huge mega churches. They're not the traditional church that I'm used to going to growing up in South Carolina, where everybody went to the church. Half the members are your family members, and things were very old school. So it was kind of like a new new ways of worship, but it's still very relevant in terms of biblical lessons. But I'm gonna go over what I learned today, and it was really important that they spoke about your. I wrote some things down, so I want to share that with y'all if I'm able to. I'm not gonna read it because I'm driving, so. But the one thing I took from it is that I've been working every single day, 7 days a week straight, 7 days straight, no breaks, no nothing. And the lesson that I learned today really was important in the sense that I need to take time because what you make sacred on earth is going to reflect how you manage your time. But I'm going to go over that in another, I'm going to go over what I've learned. But this is a short video about my viewpoints about this church, 12 Stone Church. Go online, 12 Stone Church. Now they have other campuses in Georgia, in Atlanta, metropolitan Atlanta, Brazelton, Lawrenceville, the Snellville location. So it's been around for 30 years, and I was like, they said they started out, used to be in the Gwinnett Place Mall Theater, movie theater, when they started 30 years ago, and they grew to about what 3 or 4 campuses. And I've drove through Gwinnett County, and when I was used to do Instacart, and I used to see this church. It would be 12 Stone Church. I'm like, what's this big old church? Which it's 12 Stone Church. It was one in Brazelton I've seen. And one day I said, you know what? I'm going to home. I'm still a member of Victory, and I'm still really a member of Ray of Hope. So I still have affiliations with the other 2 churches I've joined in the last few years. But I haven't really found that type of connection yet with any church that I've gone to throughout the years since I've lived in Georgia. But I know that it's not about going to a church per se, because church is not about going to a certain church or building. It's about worship and praise and salvation, worshiping with other people, studying the word, prayer. And I guess maybe coming from a family that, my mother's a pastor, she's a United Methodist Church. So my family is real strong about going to church every single time. If you go to my grandmother's house, aunt's house, they always going to mention something about church. And if you sitting at home and you ain't going to church, that's almost like cursing. But this year and a half going on, I need to really take one day of sacred time. What's this going on up here? Okay, I know they nobody's selling no puppies. I should turn around, but I don't feel like doing that. Ain't no but a puppy mill. I don't know why people want to do that. Have a puppy mill. Somebody's selling some puppies in a cage. I'm like, I would go by and see, but somebody else stopped. This 7 days, every day driving, every day working, and they made some really good points in today's lesson. But I'm gonna go over that with y'all another day, because obviously it's not an interest, because there's only one of y'all that hung in there. But I enjoy it, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna come back next. I'm gonna come back next Sunday and visit. Before I decide to, but you know what? I may just visit other, go back to Real Hope. I miss Dr. Hale, and but it's about finding a connection and finding some sort of place, not just to go every Sunday, go home, and that's it. But I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna look into more and more of the um, visiting the 12 Stone Church. Kind of connect. That's what it is. Oh, this raggedy car. It's about connecting. You know, and that's what I would like to do. And I think I'm gonna start taking one day off a week. All this working every single day, it gets to be too much. And today's lesson really was it really made some excellent biblical points. It's not about just preaching or teaching and not related biblically, because it's right there in the Bible that speaks about time, sacred of time. Your worldly views about time is going to reflect in your life. You know? Okay, hurry up and get out of the spot. Should have went to the other Publix. I do not too much like this particular one at the house, but shoo, I gotta support the neighborhood Publix. If you don't support it, then it brings the value of your neighborhood down. They almost closed this Publix down once before. Okay, so let me go ahead and talk about what was discussed today. I got some notes. Oops. That off. So, see, this was a 4-part series, so I came in on the 3rd week. So, 4 things. Let me see. He spoke both about family, but the real, it wasn't so much about family, but according to, okay, let me see. He mentions that the calendar reflects your worldviews, your views of eternity. So we shouldn't focus so much on our thoughts on worldly things, but focus on our thoughts for eternity. We all are given 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but it's how you use or view your time is important. And he did this demonstration, which is in a book. which is in a book that I'm going to see if I got. I don't know. I may have it in my library, but it's 12 Things for Effective People. And what it is that sometimes you got to build a shift in your calendar to make things work. And what it is that you do not want the little things to take over the big things in your life. So, whatever you hold sacred, you must put that on your calendar. You can't just live life just wandering with no purpose. And because it's not an effective life for anyone. It's not the quality of life. So, one of the things it says here, you have to have a new view if you want to live a new calendar, which ultimately is your eternal life calendar. And what he had went on was Colossians 3. I guess that would probably be PG 1184. That's a shame that I haven't gone to church in so long. I was thumbing through the Bible just to find where Colossians is, and still didn't even get to it. But oops, here it is. I'm going to go back and read it because they had it dark in there too. I mean, I know you have the lights low, but they had it so dark I couldn't even see. But I'm so used to going to a church. They used to put the Bible verse right on the screen and everybody just followed through if you couldn't find it fast enough. Because, that's a shame. Thumbing through the Bible just to find. Now, the only thing I know is where Genesis and the last book of the Bible, Revelations. Everything in between, let me tell you, I gotta be thumbing through the Bible. Look at this, thumbing through finding it. That's a shame. Colossians. Here it is. And he said it was 1184. Now I'm not gonna preach to y'all because not gonna do it. But I just want to put it on the page. So when I go back, when I'm sitting there on the phone today, I got to go back home. I'm up the street from my house. So I have to log on the phone at 4 o'clock to midnight. And I'm going to have this Bible verse opened so I could go ahead and read it. Uh-oh. And he did a lot of skits. They did a lot of skits. They had like skits of views talking with other senior pastors and other leaders of the church. It was on the screen interviewing. They were going over about how they live their life and their how they have things structured in their household. So I can see. So right here, when it says Colossians 3, rules for holy living. And it had rules for Christian households and further instructions. So I'm going to put this card right in the section so when I go home, I could go home and study it. Well, study it, read it. And I think that all this running around with Uber, Grubhub, and doing all these things and not one day did I take time for myself, to I mean, I'm not saying everyone has to be biblical and godly or whatever your faith beliefs are. You have to hold it sacred. And he made a good point when he talked about, with Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A said that he valued worship on Sundays, family. That's why Chick-fil-A is not open on Sundays. It would never be open on Sundays It will never change. And that's basically what the realm of this lesson that I came in today was. And I think that was a good time for me to really walk in there. Maybe when God told me, you know what, you missed 8 o'clock service, you missed the 10 o'clock service, you missed the service, but I made it at that last service for today. And I think it was really meant for me to go because, you know, waste life. You are wasting your life if you're ignoring God calendar, and it's going to be reflected in your world's view, in your view of eternity. Now, it's more to that statement that was said. I'm just kind of paraphrasing. So, but he did mention, like these little study cards, I guess they do, and 4 things to keep a family together: build solid, build sacred, solve calendar, and solve conflict. So, and I had missed the 4 well-timed lessons. I said your worldviews defines how you view. Man, I could wish I knew what those 2 things were. I missed it because I was looking for a pen. But I did write down points 2, 3, and 4. If it's not in your calendar, it's not sacred. So rather than just me driving around aimlessly, doing Grubhub, doing Uber Eats, sitting at home doing live ops, you know, the whole day, every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday. I'm literally like working every day. But then I'm like struggling. I said, why is it that I'm working every day and I'm still financially struggling, monetary wise? Because I have no viewpoints of what's important and is sacred. So even though I already put on the calendar to work on certain hours on Sunday, I'm going to have to choose one day in this week to devote to not working at all. No Grubhub, no Uber Eats, no nothing. Now, unfortunately, a lot of us would say, okay, Sunday is a busy day for food deliveries and blah, blah, blah. They got to work. You got to work on Sundays. But how much of your time is really spent with your family? Now, I know there's one person video I watch a lot, Erica, and they said you have to sacrifice. And sometimes you got to do your hustle. And if it means working every day to order to get yourself financially um, out of debt. I mean, even God said, the 7th day he rested. The 7th day he rested. So if God, who created this massive universe, and this is maybe an earthly calendar about 7 days, but we don't know we don't really know what 7 days. It could have been 7 billion years, 7 seconds, 7 days, 7 hours, 7 months. We don't really know. But for sure, we know that God had took one day to rest, and it's been made it sacred and sacred. If you was 7 Day Adventist, Saturdays is usually the day they worship. Christian, is Sunday. But it's not about the day, it really isn't. It's not about Sunday's a day of church, because this church, I tell you, they have Monday service. There's some, there's churches, they have Bible study, midweek service on the week. Now, out of all those days, I didn't go to one such service this year. Not one. In a year and a half, 2 years, going on 2 years. And then I'm wondering, why am I going through all this? Why am I running myself ragged, getting all frustrated, getting all mad? Because I'm not, and I'm not talking about resting in the sense of, going to bed and laying down. And I mean, really taking time out and improving on my quality of life. You know, me driving for 2, 3 hours every day, or 4, 6 hours, and with every day, it's not that important. It's not that serious. If I could work 6 days a week and I just need to choose one day that I could truly go and worship, Sunday may be that day, you know, Sunday. Or it could be like a worship, something on Monday or anytime on a weekday. But it's going to have to be, I don't have to really, I really think that today going to 12 Stone Church really kind of showed me, God spoke to me with that message about time. So I'm going to see if I could clear my calendar one day this week, and it probably be Sunday. It may be Sunday, you know. And if I, and if I do something work related or whatever the case may be, let it be that I know that I have to be thankful for the opportunities to grow spiritually, because I think that's one thing that's missing. All of my frustrations, all of my um, thoughts of feel that, oh, I gotta make this kind of money each week, and all this time God has always provided for me. As many times I probably wrote overdrawing my account or whatever it is, I'm still managed to. God still managed to provide. You know, God has managed to provide. But anyway, what time is it? It's 3:16 already. Let me go ahead, go and get to go to this Publix, go back home, log on, and just with my viewpoints. I really enjoy it. Go and visit 12 Stone Church. You can also, um, like most of these churches now, they have online services. You can view them online. Go and check them out. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, I'll go talk to y'all later. And I'll probably come back, make my part 2 viewpoints about this YouTube changes, and be clear about my viewpoints about that. Because I don't think I made it real clear when I did my live stream before. But I'll talk to y'all later. And y'all have a good day. I'll see y'all in I'll see you in about 2 hours. All right, let me go in this Publix real quick. Look, it's a beautiful day. Look at that, 60-something degrees. And just imagine, last week it was 20, 10. It is so warm out here. This is how people get the flu. They had that major flu outbreaks, but I don't think it's because of weather being cold and hot the next day. All right, let me hurry up. see, I got 2 more other people that came and joined me. Who on here? Dorian? Yep, I knew you'd be on here, Dorian. Whew. I said I was gonna go and I'm still talking. Three for $10. Fresh veggie kit. 2 for $6. Why do you think so much? 2 for $6 for this? I wonder if that's worth it. Yeah, I'm gonna get this. Let me look at these chickens real quick. Look at this mojo chicken from Publix. Excuse me. Somebody bought this rotisserie chicken so I could chop it up and eat it with this sweet and crunchy. Get me a chicken salad. Or eat me chicken salad. Went to Kroger. Kroger had a sale yesterday that ended on Sunday. No, it ends today. Today is Sunday. Oh Lord, let me see. I really don't have nothing to buy. I'm just in this dang supermarket. See, this is why you need to have one day off, because then you I could do a lot of things. Go to church on Sunday, cook a real meal, take my time and go to the grocery store, which is really Cat Farm Market. All right, I know y'all don't want to watch me do grocery shopping, so I guess I will talk it to y'all in a little bit. So, talk to you soon. All right, bye.